What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Marshall Time episode 41, bro.
Yup.
Hmm.
The bros are back, and we got Chris back at it again. We got some NBA draft stuff to recap. Also, free agency. Both of our teams trying to make some moves. One of our teams making bigger waves. We'll definitely go into that and how we feel about that. But first off, let's recap this draft. We talked about our mocks and our favorites, our sleepers, and now we have a chance to see how it all went down. So we'll start off with just our winners and the picks that we like from this draft.
Yeah, for me, I think a big winner for this draft was the Timberwolves. Being able to get Rob out of San Antonio. I was surprised that San Antonio didn't keep Rob. I thought that would be a good fit for him. And then they also were able to get Terrence Shannon Jr., a player that would, produced a lot at Illinois, and he'll bring in some good scoring for them, along with Dillingham. So I thought those two additions were key for the Timberwolves. They're a team that we saw that they're a threat. They're a threat in the West. They have, a lot of pieces. They have some defense, but they could use more scoring to go in. And I feel like these two guys can help them, make an impact during the season. And we'll see if they'll be able to make them, help them make an impact during the postseason. But I feel like they definitely were one of the winners of this draft.
Yeah, the Grizzlies were pretty, or excuse me, they were pretty good. I was gonna say the Jazz for me would probably have like one of the best grades because they got a point guard and a small forward with their two picks in the first round, which is like Cody Williams and Isaiah. I think Isaiah's going to see a lot of minutes since they don't have like a lead guard at the moment.
For me, yeah, Minnesota, that stood out to me. I was actually excited when the Spurs picked up Rob Dillingham because I've been dreaming about a Wemby and Dilly connection. But then I saw Minnesota was cooking up something, and then to draft a Terrence Shannon, who we talked about in the preview in our preview show. To me, they filled the holes that I thought that they had to fill. The reason why I didn't like them against Dallas is because they were too reliant upon Ant Edwards to create off the bounce, right? And so you got the solid pieces. You have a Jaden McDaniels. You have a Mike Conley, a solid veteran. You have the guys, the pieces that are needed around Anthony Edwards, but you need more shot creation. And if Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon can be who I feel like they can be, yeah, they helped out Anthony Edwards a lot. And also for Dillingham, Mike Conley is 36. So you got to think about the future of that point guard spot. Here's a guy, Mike Conley, who's a veteran, proven. Dillingham can learn a lot from Conley. It's the perfect scenario for these guys to get in Minnesota and really fill some holes. And so I'm excited. Also, it kind of hurts me because me and Josh were texting on draft night. Dalton Connect was our guy, and he was right there for us to pick him at 16. And the last time that happened, it was Tyrese Maxey, and we got him. And for Dalton Connect to be there, we passed him up. We got McCain from Duke, and solid, really good player. But Dalton Connect was like one of my favorite guys in this draft. And so the Lakers were gifted that at 17. I don't like. I never liked the he's too old argument, right? Because there's plenty of 18-year-old, 19-year-old guys who are picked up and never work out, right? Like if you can play, you can play. You can find ways to get better, even at 23. It's just crazy how they look at 23 as just you've reached your ceiling. But potential has gotten a lot of GMs fired, and I think a lot of teams are going to regret passing up on Dalton Connect for sure. And so, yeah, Lakers, Timberwolves, those are the drafts I like a lot. Any picks that made you scratch your head that you were confused by? Any teams that you're just trying to figure out what they were trying to do?
I'm still I'm confused by the Pistons pick. I like Ron Holland. I know I said I want to the Spurs because I feel like they could develop him. But listen, I do believe he could end up being the best player on the draft. So I'm not going to harp on it too much. But I'm just tired of seeing that space. And I talk about it all the time, so I'm not even going to harp on it. But that was just a head scratcher for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that pick. Another reach to me would probably be the Hornets. Um, for that guy they drafted out of France. Granted, like he is young, so his potential is pretty much like there, but I don't know. Drafting him at 6 when there's other dudes on the board is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, the number 6 pick. I don't know what the Hornets are doing. Period. Like they confuse me. I don't know what direction they're going, and I don't know what they're trying to do. And so yeah, that pick confused me. Ron Holland, who I talked about I'm being high. I'm high on. We'll see what Detroit does as far as developing him. I'm not. I hope that's the right spot for him. We'll see. Um, Milwaukee confuses me. Um, AJ Johnson was a kid that I liked as far as like a hidden gem, possibly a project. You draft him in the first round. You got Giannis, you got Dame. Obviously, you're trying to win now. And they drafted Tyler Smith out of the G League in the second round. And so it's like maybe if you're the Bucks, you're like, look, at this point in the draft, there's nobody that we can get that's going to contribute right away. Anyway, let's swing high for potential guys and figure out what we can do free agency wise. I guess that's their thinking, but I'm just confused in general about how Milwaukee is going to compete with the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Knicks, obviously, right? And so, yeah, the Bucks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to take their draft. I'm confused about the Wizards draft. I love the second pick, obviously, of Sar. They picked up three guys, right? Was it Bub Carrington and Keyshawn George? So they had three first rounders. I'm pretty sure about Sar. I just don't know about the other two. You know, potential obviously, but yeah, the Washington situation confuses me as well. What else? I'm looking at the list right now. Um,
Well, then Bub ended up on the Blazers, right?
no, he was picked by Portland. They traded him to Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to question the Thunder picking up
Yeah,
Nikolai Topic, but I'm at a point where I don't question what they do. Like
I don't
they're
know.
going to draft a hooper. They like he's a hooper, so it'll work out somehow.
They just have so many guards. I'm just like I'm
Yeah,
trying to see the timeline of where he fits. If he sits a year in case and Wallace
right.
develops, like what do you do?
Let me see who else. Who else? Zach Edey going number 9 to Memphis. That wasn't a shock. I really think they wanted to get Klingon, and I think Edey was sort of like, okay, we can't get Klingon. We got to get a big. To me, Memphis was in a spot where we need to fill this hole in the front
Yeah,
court, and that was Edey. Devin Carter slipped further than what I thought he would do, going to Sacramento at 13. Great pickup. I love Miami's pick at 15, getting aware.
yeah, that was a great pick.
Your Raptors. How you feel about that? 19 getting Walter.
I think Walter's a great pick. Like
Yeah.
that's a 3 and D wing. I mean 3 and D guard. It's like ready to go day one. Him and Grady gonna definitely be spacing the floor a lot for Scotty. So I think that's a solid pick. I'll give it a B.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jacoby could turn into more too. I mean, we're talking about a freshman that produced at Baylor. We know at Baylor that's a team where it's kind of hard for freshmen to come in and make their mark, and he
Mm.
did that right away. So I mean, he shows a lot of promise. I feel like that was a good pick for y'all.
I like the Jonathan Mogbo pick to Toronto too. That was a name that I brought up too in our preview show. I think he
Yeah,
might be one of those to be picked at 31. They think highly of you. Like that's a pretty high pick in the second round. That's one pick. That's the first pick you need. And, that is the first pick in the second round. So mid-major guy, 6'6", do everything. I'm excited to see how he looks at the next level. And so yeah. I mean, Atlanta. I'm still not sure about Ricochet as a top pick. I don't know. I don't see it. I, I hope it works out for him, but I think Atlanta. It came down to Sarr didn't work out with us. He doesn't want to be here. Who's
yeah.
the next up? And it was Ricochet. That's how I view it. If Sarr worked out for them, he would be in Atlanta. Point blank player. Period. That's how I see it.
How much do we think he's gonna put up this season?
Ricochet?
Yeah, I feel like his job's gonna be super easy. Like he just got to sit on the wing or the corner, and then he'll probably put up like 10, maybe 11 for me. That's not bad.
Well,
I'm
is
gonna be
Trey is
honest.
Trey
If
still on the
he
team though? That's the question.
Yeah, but you gotta remember they got rid of DeJounte, so that's more shots for everybody. And if he can knock down the NBA three at a consistent rate, I could see him averaging like a cool 15 this year. You know what I mean? He'll have his ups and downs, he'll have his slumps. I think the main thing going to be for him is like adjusting to the athleticism of the game, the strength, because he's not the strongest, but he does have the length and the wingspan. But if he can shoot good and get to his spots and let Trey set him up in the flow of the offense, I think he'll fit in. I think he'll fit in.
Yeah, I think for Atlanta, they got to figure out. Okay, you trade Dejounte to New Orleans. Now what? Like, I don't think you're building a championship contender with Trey Young as your number one guy. at this point. The roster would have to be really special for that to happen. In the East, I'm thinking about the competition that they're facing in the East, right?
Mhm.
Boston, New York, and Philly, Milwaukee, Indiana, Orlando is a Trey Young led team competing against those teams in the Eastern Conference. And I don't
No.
see it. I think they need to strip it all the way down, rip the band-aid off, and see what offers you can get for Trey Young. And at that point, you got to figure out, okay, that 2025 draft class, it's looking pretty nice. 2026. To me, Atlanta, study that 25 and 26 class. It's some guys that are coming up that
Yeah,
are playing in FIBA right now that are looking nice. I think Risa Shea to me is more of a secondary, nice role player. I don't see him as a number one guy. I just don't. I don't think he has that skill set, that elite skill set to be a number one. Nice piece,
hmm,
but I don't. Yeah, like I'm thinking guys like a Jason Tatum, a Jalen Brown, like Jalen Brown, like guys that can get you a bucket, guys that can take over, that can overwhelm you. I don't see that with him. Like I saw comparisons to Harrison Barnes, Michael Porter Jr. That's not what a franchise player is. Nice player. So the Hawks, for me, they got to figure out which. A lot of these teams, they got to figure out who their number one guy is. They got to find that guy. So
definitely.
the Hawks got to figure it out. Let me see. Any more draft thoughts for you guys before we head over to the free agency part?
Um, I like the Bulls pick. They got Buzelis at
Yeah,
11.
he slid a little further down.
Yeah, I was very surprised on that, and I'm like, all right, you got Giddy there starting point guard, and him like he can play off ball, which kind of fits like what their future is looking like. But I think that was solid.
All right, free agency period now. Um, we know the big news. Our guys, Josh, Paul George, PG, 4 years, 212 million of the things, 212 million. 34 years old. Um, look, PG's been one of my favorite players in the league since he came in, right? It's weird that we finally have a wing that can like go because this is what we've been wanting. This is what we've been wanting. We've been having to watch Tobias Harris for years, and we finally get a wing in PG who can get it done. I feel like the Sixers had no other choice. This was the move that you had to make. Either it was stand pat or try to make a big move, get a big name in here to at least try to compete and give yourselves a chance. And that's what they did. Now, this roster still has major holes. Like, we still have to fill this roster out. Like, most of our guys were free agents, so there's still a lot of work to be done. I still think you need a point guard. I still think you need an extra creator out there. You need a wing that can defend, and you need a four man. To me, so this is a positive start. You sign Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon off the bench as well. You re-sign Kelly Oubre. Um, but I won't give a final judgment on the Sixers right now until I see what other moves they make. It's hard to say right now because they're still. I can't compare them to the Celtics or Knicks right now because the roster is still incomplete. I got to see what they do, but for me, it's a positive start. You got to give yourself a chance. Like if it wasn't going to be PG, it was going to be Ingram or DeRozan. Like you look, I'm satisfied with getting PG, but I want to see the other moves that have to be made. But still, to me, Boston's still the favorite because we have to defend Tatum, we have to defend Brown, Holiday, White, Porzingis. As currently constructed, we're not stopping that team defensively. And I don't want to see a Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey starting backcourt because we're getting cooked. So they got to figure that out.
Yeah. I I like the PG signing. I mean, I'm a PG fan. Um I do have reservations about it because we've known PG to not show up in the playoffs at times. We know he's had some good moments, he's had some bad moments. The injury history is also concerning, especially when you couple that with Embiid. It's like I don't want to be negative, but the reality is, as a Sixers fan, I know what's coming. Like, chances are one of them is going to be hurt, and I'm gonna have to rely on one or the other to come through. And that's why I'm not all hip hop hooray about it. It's just like, all right, it's cool. We got PG. we did have to make the move though. Like it's a move that had to be made. You got to give yourself a shot because if they are healthy, that's a dangerous team. That's just
Mhm.
the facts. There's a lot of talent within those three. We definitely need to fill up that fourth spot. I would like for us to get like a Dorian Finney-Smith or a Cam Johnson. Um, but yeah, I do like the other moves we made. Like I like some of the bench moves we made. I'm definitely happy we were able to bring Kelly back for cheap too. I thought he would get more than that because he had a good year.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm shocked he accepted
yeah,
that deal.
or even if we could get a Miles Bridges, we just need a solid 4/3 that can defend, rebound, pass, do a little bit of everything. Right?
Mhm.
We need a versatile guy. That's what we really need there. I'm confident that Tyrese can run the one. He showed that he can run it this year. I think he'll only get better with time. And PG's another ball handling creator in himself. You know what I mean? Even at the age of 34. So I'm definitely happy with the move. We definitely have more moves to make, like you said. But we still got some moves to make.
Nah, I think that's a great pickup for you, man. Paul George, I give that an A. Like that's a solid wing that can play make. Like you said, probably the only piece that you guys need at this point is either an actual backup center or like just a forward like Miles Bridges, because Paul Reed, in my opinion, is not it for a backup.
But we got Drummond. We got Drummond now.
Oh yeah, y'all do.
Yeah, we signed Drummond. So that's
Oh, that's
that's
a good
that's a
pickup.
good backup big. Yeah, that's a great backup big for us.
He just don't play no defense though, so that's just
Yeah.
gonna be a little
But
questionable.
it's
But
in those Embiid minutes, all he has to do is just get some boards for us.
yeah,
Play defense here, to the best of his ability. And we drafted the guy from UCLA, Boma. I like
yeah.
him too. He
I like
showed
him.
he showed some flashes, so give him some time to develop.
Yeah, like I Najee Marshall, he went to Dallas, but that was a guy that I want us to get. Like I'm just thinking at this point, okay, we got our three, we got Joel, we got Reese, we got PG, but defensively, we got to get some guys that can like really, you know what I'm saying, get some stops. And so if you want to beat the Celtics, you gotta have guys that can defend Tatum and Brown. Like that's my biggest thing because right now PG isn't the defensive player that he once was and Oubre is Oubre somebody that you're confident that can cover Brown and Tatum. You know what I mean? And so in a 7 game series against Boston, that's my only concern right now. Defensively, who are we bringing in perimeter wise? Because our backcourt at this point, our guards are Maxi, McCain, and Oubre. Is that gonna get it done? And Eric Gordon defensively. You know what I mean? It's just so that's my only thing. If we're talking about playing a Boston in the 7 game series, and New York's going to be tough. I don't like. I think people are underestimating how good Mikal Bridges really is when he's like in his proper role, and also OG. Like these guys aren't like they're not the quote unquote buckets that we see out of the Lucas and the Kyries, but they can get it done offensively, like when need to. You know what I mean? And so New York isn't going to be easy out either. So I still want to see how they fill out the rest of this roster. Any other big moves that stand out to you? Obviously, Klay Thompson's going to the Mavericks. Tobias Harris continues to rob teams. Salute to you. 2 years, $52 million in Detroit. I don't know what Detroit's doing, but whatever. Um, Isaiah Harnstein got a nice payday for the Thunder. I love that move for the Thunder, actually. Contavious Caldwell Pope, 3 years, $66 million going to the Magic. Any moves that really stick out to you that really can push a team over the edge, or just like, all right, nice move, whatever. Do you see any like groundbreaking moves right now?
I would say Washington, not like I mean Washington's not groundbreaking to be very clear, but they still got like a point guard, Malcolm Brogdon, and then they got Jonas Valanciunas. So like they got an actual center now.
Mhm.
And then they have like that lead guard that like they were severely missing because I believe their starting point guard was Tyus Jones last year,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
he's solid. Don't get me wrong, but Malcolm Brogdon offers a lot more.
yeah, I can agree with that. I actually like the Clay to the Mavericks. I feel like this is a fresh start for him. We know in Golden State it was a lot. There's a lot going on. He's worried about his contract situation. He was looking over his shoulder. The young guys coming to take his spot, and all those. These are all things that you have to do. You have to deal with as a professional. But now he's going to the Mavericks to where he's going to feel wanted there. You know what I mean? Like, and he knows. All right, I'm playing with one of the best playmakers in the game. We also have Kyrie, one of the best buckets in the game. He's going to get a lot of open looks. Like I know he got open looks with Golden State, but it's going to be even more now because we saw those finals games. Like we saw the shots that that Derrick Jones were missing. We saw some of the shots that PJ Washington was missing. Right, those shots. Clay can still shoot the ball. Like I know what the talk is. People look at his lowlights. I know he had 0 points in a playoff game. I know he's had some bad shooting performances, right? But you're not leaving Klay Thompson wide open, and you're going to feel safe about it for like a full series. You know what I mean? Like he's going to knock down shots. He didn't forget how to shoot the basketball. Um, the defense that's concerning for them, but like we said, they got Najee Marshall. He showed some potential as a defender. We'll see how he'll deal with being like a main defender, on the ball, guarding the other team's best player. But I think that was a good move for the Mavericks. I mean, it's like, what else could they really do? You know what I mean? They had to do something, and I feel like that was a good move for them.
Clippers signed Mo Bamba, Nicholas Batum, Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones, Kevin Porter. With James Harden and Kawhi Leonard's knees, are they a playoff team?
Not at this point.
If they stay healthy, they might can make it. Just because we've seen the Clippers teams do more with less. I don't know what it is with them. It's like when they have less players, they do better. But I mean, it just depends on the injury, the health part. You know what I mean?
Is it over for the Warriors?
I think like they're going. I'm not going to say like completely over because they have a lot of young pieces, but Curry's. I don't see them winning a chip in Curry's tenure. Like what I think he has probably like another 5 left, but I can't see it right now.
They I don't know what their direction is now. Like when they got rid of Clay, it's like, all right, the dynasty, the big three's over.
Hmm.
What's next? I know they're talking about starting Podominski. Okay, we don't know what he'll look like as a starter. Like we don't know. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I want to see Kaminga, get more opportunity, but he still has to improve as a jump shooter. Wiggins, I mean, after that finals run, I know he has some personal issues. He hasn't been the same. I don't know. I know they're talking about trying to get, marketing or get some other pieces in there. Um, like as of right now, I don't know if they're making the playoff. I don't think I have them making the playoffs. That West is rough. Like, with their roster currently constructed, I don't have them in that playoff. I just don't.
They'll probably make play-ins, but nah.
Yeah, the West is rough, man. You got to remember the Grizzlies are coming back too. Like,
Hmm.
You guys know that Steph will be 37 next year?
sheesh. But the thing is, I don't even care about that because I know he'll still be like a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, I'm not talking about, oh, Steph is cooked. I'm saying for this timeline that the Warriors on, they've been
Yeah,
trying to do this thing of developing while trying to compete, and you can't do that if you're the Warriors right now. Like he'll be 40 in a few years. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? Like, for you to not, I guess they didn't want to give up Kaminga for Paul George. I guess that's what let the deal fell through. Is what they're saying now. Like, what are you trying to do now?
yeah, they
Like,
needed Paul George
like
bad.
if for you to, if you want to get a viable piece, whether it's a Paul George or a Laurie Markkinen, you got to give up something of value. And Kaminga is the only piece that you have right now that a team is going to want outside of picks. And so for me, it's like Kaminga still has to develop. These young guys, they're talented, but they still have room to grow, right? And so you're competing with a Thunder team, a Mavericks team, a Timberwolves team, a Nuggets team, teams that have competed and are ready to play and win now. And, oh yeah, you got the Lakers too of LeBron and AD. You have Phoenix and those guys. You have like you got the Grizzlies who are coming back. You got the Pelicans who are going to be solid. The Kings, who knows what they might do, right? Like, um, so for the Warriors, to me, I just hate when a team is trying to play it both ways, where you're trying to compete, but your roster is really not built to compete, and so you're just left in no man's land. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't make the play. And to be honest with you, like Jonathan Kaminga has to make that leap this year. I thought he would do it last year, but yeah, these offseason videos can't move me anymore. Like I gotta see it. Like I gotta see it on a consistent basis. And so for me, the Warriors got to be very careful, very careful. Um, yeah, I mean they were 10th last year.
hmm
So how much? Are they getting better? Have they gotten better? I guess the improvement will come from in-house development, unless they get a Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan. The report now is that DeMar DeRozan, there's really no money left now. Teams don't have cap space, so he's willing to take a 1-year deal on a cheap in hopes of getting a bigger deal. Is there a spot where you would like to see him go, DeMar DeRozan? Where would he? I thought about, I mean, selfishly Philly, but if I take them out of it, I said Denver. Like, if you want to win a ring, compete. I mean, Denver to me would need. I think they need somebody else outside of Jamal Murray because Michael Porter to me he's more of a spot up guy. I don't trust him to put the ball on the floor constantly. I think you need somebody else outside of Jamal to get a bucket when you need it from the perimeter. So that was one team or Miami. But yeah, those were two squads that I thought of.
I don't know what you could actually use DeMar because of his lack of 3-point shooting. But I mean, if I were to pick, I would say like the Mavs could use just like if he's going to sign a 1-year deal, the Mavs could use him just a creator that's like there. He doesn't. There's not going to be a lot of ask for him to do on defense, or maybe like if he's going to do a 1-year deal, the Lakers would probably be a good option as well.
Yeah, I mean, my thing about DeMar, I think he's at the point in his career. He's averaging. He's still putting up starter numbers, but on a championship team, I want to see him be a 6 man. I want to see him come off the bench. We don't have to really drop no plays for you. Let's get you to your spot. Let's get you to that mid range, and you get buckets. Like sort of how Sean Livingston was for the Warriors, and he's better than Sean Livingston was. You know what I mean? But we
Mm-hmm.
get him in that 6 man role on any of these contending teams, like or teams that think they can be contending. Let's get him there. I don't in today's NBA, like at his age and just how his game has translated, I don't think he should really be starting anymore. Not that he can't, it's just the game's just gotten away from him. He can still play, but let's get him. I want to see him be like a 6 man. So um definitely I could see him like on the Mavericks. If he come off the bench for the Mavericks as 6 man, that's crazy. Even
Yeah,
though even the Lakers come off the bench for the Lakers because he can't start with them. That spacing is going to be kind of nasty. Um, yeah, he has to go to a team like that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Denver's roster. They got to get a veteran on that bench. They're counting on young guys. If I'm Denver, I'm going all in on trying to get DeMar. Like you're counting on Christian Braun to step up, Julian Strother,
But
Peyton Watson.
they're
Like
saying they want Russ.
yeah, that's what I saw.
Jokic and DeAndre Jordan are pushing for.
get Russ and DeRozan. Let's go. I
Yeah,
mean, Denver gotta because Minnesota retooled. OKC is like
They
so.
just lost KCP though, so I don't know.
that's why I'm saying they need to fill that 3 and D. That's another move that sneaky is a sneaky good move. Like KCP going to the Magic, they needed 3-point shooting and they added defense with it, and he has that championship experience. Like the Magic, they could make it. They can make it to the second round this year. That's a big. I mean, that's better than the first round. That's an improvement for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And in the long run, that could help them become more attractive to certain players and free agency. So that was a good move for them too.
The Magic, I like what they've built. Like their young guys. They picked up Tristan Da Silva in the draft.
Yeah.
Really good pickup for them. I think for me, the final piece for them to unlock their full potential is getting that guy at the guard spot, like that guy that can really just go. Jalen Suggs is great defensively. Cole Anthony, I think he's solid. He can be streaky though, but I think for me, they got to get that one piece perimeter wise, that guy that can really go and get a bucket at any given time. To me, that's like the only thing that is holding them back to really being a championship contender because everything else is there defensively. They got Paulo, they got Wagner. I mean, there's just Jonathan Isaac if he can stay healthy. Like they got the guys that they need, but I would want to have a little more explosive potential offensively from the wing spot that I don't see from them right now. But getting KCP is going to be huge for them. Getting a veteran in there, that's going to be crucial. All these teams we're talking about in the Eastern Conference, I think the one team that's getting left behind to me is Milwaukee. I'm not a fan of what I'm not a fan of what it's going to look like in 2 years. Giannis is already 30 years old. Time flies. right? And so Dame is getting up there. Chris Middleton is not who he once was. Yeah, Giannis will be 30 in December. Chris Middleton, his body just isn't, his knees just aren't right anymore consistently, right? And so Milwaukee, they got a hard choice to make in a couple of years. I feel like I don't see where they grow. They better hope Dame comes back and just is the Dame from Portland that we saw. They better hope some of the guys like Chris Middleton, better hope he stays healthy. But outside of that, I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
Well, I saw they were saying that they want to become they're trying to trade Brook Lopez to become more versatile on defense, and I get that, but I don't know who they can really get. Like the only person they could get that's available right now is like what Wiggins and Finney Smith and them, but it's like I don't know how much of a difference that's making to close the gap between the other teams in the East right now.
Yeah.
Brook has actually been solid for them.
Yeah, he has, but I think they want to play more of like I was just reading a report. They probably want to be able to switch more because we know Brook is more of a rim protector. They want to be able to switch more, and Giannis can guard. He can guard the rim, even though that's not what he's been doing. He's been roaming more. Um, but to me, I mean, they've been on it. They've done wrong ever since they got rid of Budenholzer to me because they got rid of him for
Nothing.
no reason. Like you want to chip with him, then you get rid of him. And I spoke on this before, but they got rid of him because they lost to the Heat. Yeah, but at the same time, Giannis got hurt when he did play. He was missing free throws, which cost y'all the game in the end. Jimmy Butler was cooking y'all best defenders. I mean, I don't know which more you really could ask Budenholzer to do. And now they hired Griffin, they get rid of him, they bring in Doc, who didn't even, it sounded like he didn't even really care about going there. He just want that money.
Yeah.
So I don't. To me, it's just been questionable decision after questionable decision, and now here we are. So this is the effect of that.
You know how I feel about Milwaukee with Doc Rivers. You know where I stand on that. I don't. Yeah, I can't take a team serious that's gone through so many coaches in so many years. Um, I don't know. Everything from Milwaukee has just been weird to me over the past year. Everything that we're seeing and hearing from Giannis and Dame and Doc, just I don't know. Like your roster's old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've done
just
nothing to move the needle, like
uh,
at all.
like I'm looking at their depth chart on ESPN. Pat Connaughton's your starting three. I can't take a roster serious if that's your starting three. If you're trying to,
Their draft wasn't even like
that's
It
what I
was
good.
talked about. Their draft confused me. I don't
I
know
don't
what
even
they
know. Yeah, I don't
drafted
know.
two like young guys. Like these are really young guys. A G
I
League
think
guy
they're
and a
just
guy who
banking
just
on because I
yeah.
seen Doc say something about how Dame didn't have a full offseason. Well, he said he wasn't in shape during the offseason because he didn't know where he was ending up. So I think they're banking on Giannis coming back healthy and Dame coming back with a full offseason. But even then, I don't think that's going to be enough. Like it's just
Doc's
not.
always making excuses, man. We don't
Yeah,
want to hear it.
is
I don't think it's
Bobby
going to be
Portis
enough.
still on the roster, or did he didn't sign back?
Who?
Bobby Portis.
I think he's still on the roster.
All right.
Their free agents are Malik Beasley, Beverly, Jay Crowder, and Thanasis, who isn't going anywhere as long as
Yeah,
Giannis is on that
they
roster.
need to. Yeah, they need to make some moves ASAP too, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
So
just
Dame
don't
is
even
30.
have
He'll be
a value.
34. Yeah, he'll be 34 soon. Middleton will be 33. Um, yeah, I don't know.
how do we feel about Chris Paul to the Spurs?
I love it. I love it for Wemby to actually play with a competent point guard. If you're a Spurs point guard, you can't get double digit assists, then you shouldn't. I don't know what to tell you. Like, just throw that up. Like, like that's the biggest come up for a young point guard in the league. I want to go to San Antonio, get my numbers up. Just throw it up. Like Wemby's going to get it, and so I think for Wemby, it's going to be great. It's going to be able to allow him to develop even more. For Chris Paul, look at this point in his career, maybe he's going to enjoy being sort of like a guy that can be a veteran presence for a generational talent and Wemby and help develop that team. Like so, I love it for the Spurs.
Yeah, we seen Chris Paul go to these teams that aren't relevant and find a way to make them relevant. I don't know if he still has that in him at this age, but I know he still has his IQ and I know he still has his passing ability, and I know
So
he's playing with Wimby, so it's gonna be interesting.
does he start this season, or does he come off the bench though?
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Who do they have to start?
Well, like I think they would start the dude. I think his name Malachi Branham. Uh, I think
But
that
yeah,
might be.
he played for them. Do they still have who do they have? Tyrus or Tyler?
Whoever they had, they wanted they were trying Jeremy Sohan, which was a
Yeah,
Yeah.
disaster.
they have
Um,
Trey Jones. That's their.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's a good
I feel like
question.
I'm searching up something on Twitter now. Yeah, there's a report that says Chris Paul is expected to start. I don't think Chris Paul takes his deal unless he's starting.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's surprising because like he didn't see many minutes with like Golden State, but granted, like they were running some crazy lineups. But I'm just like, how do you start a 39-year-old that hasn't played like
hmm.
in a starting five in a while?
That
but
tells you that.
I think they'll also have the ability to start him because they have Vassell around him. They still have Wimby, and
Yeah,
then you can bring Stephon Castle off the bench, or I don't know what their I don't know what their plan is with him exactly to start, but and plus it's a Pop would I think Pop and CP3 would get along just well. So
I think
no,
I think the Spurs are in a spot now where they okay, you have some talent there. They gotta learn how to play winning basketball at the pro level, and so just having young guys out there and just rolling the balls out, and letting them play. That I mean, look at Detroit, right? Like we've seen the examples, just not going to work. So getting a guy who has been in the league, who has played at the highest level, having him play meaningful minutes. We know how intense Chris Paul is and how much he wants to win, and so just to have that influence on a team like the Spurs, who just picked up Castle from UConn, I think that can be do wonders for him. And so, I just think the developmental piece is what the Spurs are looking at. I think probably what Chris Paul is looking at. Let me see if I can what I can do with these young guys, and maybe next year when I hit free agency, maybe I have a better opportunity on the playoff team where he'll probably have to come off the bench. But we'll see.
yeah,
Um, that's how I see San Antonio doing it because you got a guy in Wemby where you cannot waste his years. You got to if you're not going to be competing for a playoff spot, at least bring some veterans into where he can learn because right now it's just all young guys. Like, and you that's just not going to work. Like these young guys aren't going to just learn how to win and learn how to be professionals. So getting Chris Paul in there, yeah, I think it was a good move. It makes sense because really, I don't know what is Chris Paul's role in the NBA right now. Um, I know there was talks about possibly going to the Lakers, maybe, which I mean, would it work for him off the bench? But would he even want to come off the bench in LA? I don't know. He would probably start for the Lakers, right?
mm,
I mean, unless, but I don't think I mean, the Lakers are trying to trade D'Lo at this point, right? And so, like, what are they even doing at the point guard spot?
yeah. They're definitely like, if they were to move D'Lo, then yeah, Chris Paul probably would have started, but they're stuck with D'Lo at this point, and I don't think anyone picks him unless it's like a losing team that's just trying to pick up a salary dump. That's the only thing I can think of. Not a contender.
Are the Lakers a playoff team in the West? Like top six, not playing, top six team in the West next year with their roster as is.
they
Yeah.
didn't make enough moves for me. You think
They
they
didn't
top
do
six?
anything. They drafted Bronny and
I
re-signed
mean,
Max.
what's your
They still
opinion?
they
Go
still
ahead.
got you got to keep that in mind. And
No,
then Austin Reeves should definitely have like a better season than what it was last year. I think Darvin Ham was a huge piece on like why they were really bad, and his lineups were just terrible. And I feel like Austin Reeves' role was very depleted when he had to like play with Darvin Ham. So hopefully with JJ Redick, there's a lot more catch and shoot options for him. And obviously with Dalton coming off the bench, I think that like should help them as well.
so here were the six teams that made it straight up, no plan needed. The Thunder, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Clippers, Mavericks, Suns. Who out of that top six isn't going to be top six next year in the West?
Clippers. I think Clippers losing Paul George is going to be very that's a huge piece they're losing. I think Clippers will fall out that top six.
And then the next four, the play-in was the Lakers, Pelicans, Kings, Warriors. Who moves up into the top six then? Pelicans just getting DeJounte Murray. Still have Brandon Ingram too. We'll see what happens with that. So out of those four play-in teams, who makes the playoffs if there's one spot open.
If the Pelicans end up keeping Brandon Ingram and they running back with this with the what they have now, I they should move up one. I don't see the Kings moving up at all because they didn't do anything to me that helped their improve their roster. Devin Carter is another guard, but like they're already in a logjam as well. They have Keon Ellis, and then you have De'Aaron Fox, and then there's like a Malik Monk too. So like drafting Devin Carter, I just don't see how that made sense.
The only reason I can't put the Lakers top six is because I don't think they got tremendously better. Um, I'm a fan of JJ Redick becoming a coach. I'm not mad at it. My only question is this going to be his team or is it going to be LeBron kind of controlling what's going on and JJ Redick being the scapegoat in the end? You know what I mean? Also, we got to keep in mind that Grizzlies will be back this year. Ja will be back, so they're going to be back in that mix. And they show that they got some young talent now outside of just Ja and Bane and Jaren. Um, we know they got GG Jackson, they got Williams. We'll see how Edie contributes with to that team. So they're going to be a legit threat too this year. I'm not
Brandon
sure.
Clark,
I don't
Brandon
know.
Clark will be back from injury too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's LeBron and AD, so they're going to be in the mix. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They need to make some more moves. Like they need another move that's going to be like, yeah, you know what? All right, we're here. I can't confidently say that they're going to be top six. I can't.
So
Yeah,
like,
I don't like. I don't like their roster, and I don't know. Obviously, I love the Dalton Connect pick. Love what he can bring to that team. Um, it's just the mental lapses when I watch the Lakers for the last couple of years. They've had mental lapses out there, like where it's like you can almost predict how a Lakers game is going to go. They're great. They're great front runners. Like when things are going well, boom. But there are moments of the season where you're losing to the Bulls, you're losing to the Spurs. This is why you find yourself in a playing situation because you have these lapses mentally. You give up leads, like and coaching. You can blame the coaching, but for me, I blame the individual mindset of certain players out there. Like I'm never going to question LeBron and what he brings out there, but D'Angelo Russell, I got to question you. It's just certain mental makeup of the guys on that roster that I just don't trust right now. Um, what if I told you the Kings might get Laurie Marketing? There's a report saying the Kings are interested in trading for Marketing. Would that change your mindset? They would probably give up Keegan Murray in picks, but they would keep Fox, Sabonis, Malik Monk, and you would
no,
have Marketing.
that doesn't help them defensively. That's I think their biggest thing is running that running gun offense and just fast breaks and stuff. Yeah, that's cool, but in the playoffs, everyone's like locking in on that. So I mean, Laurie Markkinen's a good scorer. I just don't think he's a good defender.
Regular season though, would it be good enough to be top six,
Top six.
where they can get out and really steal some wins early and really, you know,
Do you think they're better than the Pelicans with that?
if the Pelicans keep Ingram,
Yeah. The only thing the Pelicans lost this season was Jonas. And
probably
granted,
not.
yeah,
But Zion has to be healthy.
agreed.
And I'm not sure what's that front court looking like for the Pelicans. They got the rookie out of Baylor. Is he ready? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's my only question about the Pelicans. Like,
I think the thing about the West is we can never confidently say who's staying and who's going because we saw the year before the Kings were just in a dogfight with the Warriors, and we were like, okay, they'll be back. And then that same season, the Mavericks didn't even make the playoffs. Just for it to turn around this year, the Mavericks end up making the finals, and the Kings don't even make the playoffs. So the Kings could be back in the mix. Well, we really don't know. Like I feel like, especially the way they play offense, is so sporadic. Like if they go on this stretch where they're hitting their shots and they're defending well, because Sabonis and Fox, they're elite talents in this league, so they'll be in the mix too. And we got to account for the fact that the Warriors are probably dropped down, even though they didn't make the playoffs, but that all affects the standings.
hmm
We already talked about how the Clippers are probably dropped down, and the Suns, for that matter, like I don't know if we don't know what's going to happen with them either. Like we don't know.
yeah, for
Uh,
real.
we just don't know. Like because they're not making any real moves. I love Book. I love KD's game, but we don't know what's going to happen. We just don't know.
I'm high on the Grizzlies. Like I'm willing to say they're a top 6 team in the West
I
next
think
year.
they'll be back. I think
Like
they'll be
I
back.
people forget how good they were pre, Ja getting hurt and everything that he had going on. Like they're one of the best teams in the Western Conference. You add in a Gigi Jackson and Williams, Brandon Clark will be back. Like we'll see how he fits into what they got going on. But I'm very high on Memphis. If you guys had to pick a favorite out of the West, I know it's hard to do right now because it's just so competitive. But everything that we're seeing right now, just real quick, I would pick the Thunder for me. That's my favorite right now.
I'm going to go with the Mavericks.
What about you, Josh?
I don't. I mean, they're the favorite just because they're the defending champs. But I think the Timberwolves are the favorite to me. I think the moves they made and the promise they showed last year, I'm going with them.
All right. It's going to be fun. We're going to see. We got Summer League coming up too, I think, this weekend. So we'll get to see some of these rookies play. A lot of things to talk about for sure. But thank you guys for watching, listening. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, of course. We'll see y'all next time.
All right, peace out.
Later, y'all.